Here's a client that this is actually from this morning. I got this report in. I'm going to shrink myself down a little bit here. So we are providing data with this client here. We're working with them every 2 weeks. Many clients we're on weekly. It depends on your needs, right? If clients want us for their weekly reporting and for their ordering, we're in every week. Or if they're higher volume and they want to stay on top of what's happening behind the bar, we're in their weekly. Many clients then will just use us for accountability and to make sure that their variance, this number here, is as low as possible. Now, this particular client here, this is over 30,000 in sales over 2 weeks. They have a huge variance problem, right? They're a new client, so we're working with them to try and figure out what's going on there. They're at 30%, which means that out of every 10 drinks depleted, only 7 are getting sold, 3 are disappearing. We don't know why, where, when. All we know for sure is that there are 3 drinks that have not been recorded anywhere. So our objective is to get you down to less than 5%, or get this client down to less than 5%. This, believe it or not, is not unusual. Most clients that we start with are around the 20+% range. Because the industry is really difficult to track, right? Partial products, late nights, loud music, dark environment, very prone to making lots of mistakes, and so our focus though is to get you that visibility and transparency so that you can drive this number here down from 30% to less than 5%. What does that mean in terms of cost of goods? In this example here, they're at 17% cost of goods, but they actually should be at 12%. This is the gap. So we're looking to close this gap from 17% down to 12%. They are off their cost of goods by 5%, okay? In terms of wholesale variance, they're missing $1,500 over the course of 2 weeks. In terms of retail variance, that's $13,000. The true loss is they are not in the wholesale business, right? The only reason this number would be true is if all the product is disappearing out the back door. On the worst side, this $13,000 is only accurate if all of the product was being given away for free and a customer would have paid for that. Does that happen? Absolutely, right? For sure. Does it happen all the time? Absolutely not, right? So it's going to be a mixture of overpouring, free drinks, wastage, spillage, you name it, right? Anything, missing buttons from the point of sale, foaming issues. There are so many issues in so many areas where there's leakages, and our job is to help you identify where all these leakages are happening and to identify what's the right process to track it, right? Because ultimately you want to drive your cost of goods down to where they should be. So the first thing we would do is identify where you're currently at exactly and where you should be at, right? Based off of your product depletion. So we have all these metrics and we're going to work. We come in every week or every 2 weeks. It's our hardware, our software, our people. You don't need to learn anything new. We're going to coach your management staff on how to be better managers so that they can coach their staff to be better staff. That's the name of the game. And by doing that, you're going to drop these numbers down. You're going to know as an owner who's has invested a lot of money into your bar, you're going to ensure that your bar is running as tightly and as efficiently as possible. So as long as we get results, which we always do, this service will get paid for itself multiple times over. All right. The cost of our service ranges considerably because we price it based off of how long it takes us to count the bar. How many man hours does it take us to count everything, put in the purchases, get your sales, talk to your staff, coach and consultant, and shoot off the email. It's all time-based, but it's a fixed price. It's either every week or every 2 weeks. It'll range from anything from $350 up to, we've had some places we're up to $2,000, for example. We're working with the Waldorf Astoria up in Manhattan. The place is huge, right? So it takes us about 30 or 40 man hours just to do that place alone. Place like yours at the Overlook, I would expect would be much, much smaller, obviously. But we're going to be focused on, we're going to price it off of how long it takes us to do that. That also includes how organized it is. Are we climbing ladders? Do you have a very heavy wine collection, etc., right? We weigh everything as well. So how do we track the products? Every single product that's open gets weighed, including your kegs, your draft. There's a keg, a beer that's open, we weigh. That way we know exactly what's getting depleted. We have all the weights, empty weights, full weights, barcodes, densities, everything is in our database from doing this for 26 years. It's all we do, and we're very much focused on, if we cost $10,000 a year, we're looking to return you at least $30,000 to $100,000, depending on the size of the prize. So if you want to go down here, some details we're tracking here. For example, this place, Tito's Vodka. So they were missing over 2 weeks, 762 shots for 28% variance on liquor. That is crazy, right? 143 shots of Tito's. Again, we know what their serving size is. 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces. They tell us what the data is, and we can see what's missing across each individual product. And it's this level of detail and being able to communicate to staff exactly what's going on a product by product basis is what makes all the difference, right? So how do we get results? It's constant communication, and it's having communication with the management and with the staff, and then keeping you in the loop as the owner to say, hey, what are the problems and what are we doing to fix them, right? And so a lot of times it could be issues with your point of sale is not configured properly. It could be an issue with your draft system has got pressure issues or temperature issues. It could be that the staff, they're just overpouring and are either not trained properly or are willfully overpouring. We also include things like comps and promos, right? So it doesn't need you don't need to change your processes. You can look after your customers as you always do. But as a minimum expectation, if a customer is looking after, or if a bartender is looking after a customer, then that should be just rung onto the point of sale, right? It should be rung in as a comp or a promo or whatever it is, right? If somebody drops something, it should be tracked as variance or should be tracked as wastage. That then is all accounted for. That does not go into the shrinkage or variance that you're showing here, right? So it's all about you being able to see how much is getting sold, how much is getting wasted, how much is getting comped or promoted or given away for free, right? As long as you know that, then you can make decisions for your business. So we're there to provide you full transparency, full visibility, and to work with your managers and their staff to make sure that everything is running as you would like it to be. We do not dictate. We're not bar cops. We're just coming in here to provide you analysis and consulting on what's happening in the industry and what's best practice. So you'll see here for this new client, ton of data. Normally there's not this much data, but when there's so much problems as there is in this venue, we kind of go through it line by line. All of this data is completely verifiable because it's your data. It's your product, your purchases, your sales. So you can check all of this stuff. And that's why we work with the management to have them heavily involved in the process so that they can check our work, they can check our data, they can question us, they can challenge us. We want them involved because we want them to take ownership of this data once we hand it off to them, right? And so that they're the ones that are going to be having the conversations with staff to say, hey, why are we missing this? What are the problems? And then staff will always know what the problems are. So a lot of different graphs and data we're tracking here for customers, where your product is, where your vendors may be changing price and what's the impact of this. So for example, this Hennessy, the price here since the last time it was purchased has gone up by $4.71 based off of the depletion. That's going to be an extra $11,000. It's going to cost them over the course of the year based off of the depletion. So that's a huge amount. That's something you want to be able to talk to your vendor about and say, hey, you're costing me an extra $11,000 per year on this. So that's it in a nutshell. The offer is that we will do this at a no risk free trial. So we'll get you over 2 weeks. So we'll come in 3 times, opening count, second count, third count. That'll be 2 separate reports. 2 separate reports will show you what's trending over those 2 weeks. Is it the same problems over those 2 weeks? You're going to get data like this. You're going to know exactly what's happening in the business. How much are you currently losing and where are you losing it? It's also going to show you what's the gap. Where is the opportunity left in the business? It's going to show you what's the size of the prize, right? The real loss is somewhere. We usually kind of, based off of 20 years plus of data, we find that the real loss is somewhere in between, usually halfway between this retail loss and wholesale variance, right? So we would say here, they're probably looking at around at least $5,000 every 2 weeks opportunity here. So 5,000 multiplied by 26 is $130,000. That's what we would say is the true opportunity that they're leaving on the table here, because it's not just wholesale. Some of it is definitely going over the bar and it's been given away for free that customers would have paid them the full retail price, right? So That's what this is how we pay for the service. This is how we're going to provide at least a 5x return on investment.